Hey, all my fantasy football friends out there, welcome to the Multiple First channel. Today, Tony and Greg are bringing you what is a pet project of mine that I've been looking at, something I wanted to put forth to the community. Greg's going to help me break down the Dynasty Quarterback landscape. So today we're not talking about points and projections and who's going to be a top 5 QB. Today we're talking about job security, all right? A big deal with a lot of my strategies is finding guys that are going to be safe for the 2023 season. I really like, looking forward seasons ahead when I do a startup. So, when I draft a quarterback, I want someone who I know is more than just a rental. I want to get a big bite of the quarterbacks that I think are going to be safe. And I wanted to get some hard numbers out there to really put in perspective for you guys out there. Just what quarterback security looks like, what the landscape as a whole is. So, presented to you on the screen right now, as you can see, is basically the quarterback tiers as I see them. Um, it's kind of broken down as from safety into risk, and yeah, the first few guys up here is just Allen, Mahomes, Herbert, Burrow, Kyler, Lamar, Dak, Russ, Stafford, Lawrence, Fields, Rodgers, Mack, Wilson, Cousins. That's what I like to call the locked-in starters. That's 15 guys, so not even half the whole league. But these dudes are all safe for 2023. And yeah, Greg, what do you think on that, man? Do you think it's about these 15? Anyone in there who shouldn't be?
Yeah, I think Allen Mahomes, Herbert, Burrow, Murray, Jackson, Dak Wilson, Stafford, Rodgers. That should all be obvious to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then you've got Kirk Cousins and the 4 second-year quarterbacks. Uh, Kirk Cousins definitely belongs in this group, but I think it is worth just explaining to the listener. Kirk Cousins belongs in this group because his contract says he absolutely cannot be cut for 2 more years.
Yep.
And he is getting paid like a starter next year, like a high-end starter next year. So he's a 2-year job. Looking at the 4 second-year quarterbacks on this group, on this list, I can only put Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones in the pretty much a 100% certain to start next year list.
For 23.
Now,
Okay.
yeah, I love Justin Fields, and I really like Zach Wilson as dynasty buys, as upside quarterbacks. But I think there is a chance for each guy that if it goes bad enough, they get Sam Darnold, right? And if the Jets have a top 3 pick next year, that would be very bad for Zach Wilson's future in New York.
Yeah. Well.
The same for Chicago, right? Now, I don't think that's going to happen to either one of those guys, but they are on bad teams, right? So I do think they have to win enough games to stay away from the disaster zone. Now, Trevor Lawrence, I think, is just going to keep his job no matter what. And Mac Jones, I think, has already shown enough that he's pretty locked in.
Okay, yeah. So and that's gonna play into the next tier. The next tier, guys, is what I like to call the the high probability starters, dudes who the community we think they're gonna be starter in 23. All systems point to that, but there is at least some shade of risk, and maybe Fields and Wilson belong in this tier, not the A tier. But that's Deshaun Watson, only because he may. The suspension he takes may be a 2023 suspension. We don't know. There's just so much uncertainty where I have him down here in this secondary tier. Jalen Hurts, Hurts it wasn't a first round pick, so he doesn't have a 5th-year option attached to him. So this is his 3rd season he's entering right now. In 12 months from now, it will be Jalen Hurts extended or not is going to be a big time conversation that's being had. So that puts him here. Trey Lance, I mean, we haven't seen it yet. We don't know what to expect. Who knows what's up with that? I cannot confidently say he's the Niners' 22 starter, let alone their 23 starter. So that's why he's in this tier. Derek Carr signed that extension we all heard about. There's an out in that extension where the the Raiders can move on from Carr with very little dead cap. I don't know the exact number, but it's pretty friendly
It's low.
relative. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
relative to his $45 million salary or whatever it is.
No. But
Hmm.
okay, keep going.
Yeah, sorry.
So
Um,
keep going.
Pickett, I have him in this tier just because there's at least some degree of chance that maybe I'm a Trubisky stan or truther, whatever you want to call me, but I think Trubisky could outplay Pickett and hold on to the job and stave off Pickett for some amount of time. Tua, who knows what the future holds for him, and Matt Ryan is under contract for the 2023 season, um, and we'll see what happens with him. So likely their team starter in 23, but not 100% guaranteed. And go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna say, Deshaun Watson is the team starter in 2023. I think he's gonna miss time at some point,
Sure.
but he's a locked in many year starter, and I'm just pushing him up to the next tier. I don't. That's how I'm treating it. It's like, and he's going to miss some time with an injury, with what amounts to an injury for fantasy football purposes, setting aside all the other stuff and whether you feel comfortable rostering him. As an asset, I think it's going to be 4 games, it's going to be 8 games, it's going to be 10 games, I don't know, but it's going to be this year, it's going to be next year, but he's other than that, he's the starter for 4 years in Cleveland.
Sure.
Um,
Is there anyone in this
yeah.
secondary tier that's like should be lower?
Yes.
Who's that?
Tua.
Tua. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
I think yeah, so I'm pushing Watson up for me. Fields and Wilson down.
Mm-hmm.
Hurts, Lance, yes, I think all of those guys very likely. Carr, I'm almost pushing him up, but yeah, he's there. Ryan, same deal. I think you're right about Pickett. Pickett is going to be the opening day starter in Pittsburgh next year. If Tua's not good, Miami has 2 first-round picks next year, and they have pretty much everything but a quarterback. I mean, like, I don't expect him to play his way out of a job, but I think he is a guy who is like, he needs to not finish third in the division this year and uncompetitive with the bringing in of Hill and Waddle and the new coach. I mean, like, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I think he's in a make it or break it a year.
So he
And
might
the other
drop down
guy,
into this riskier third tier for you too. You
yeah,
think?
and then down in that third tier, I'm pushing Ryan Tannehill up.
Okay.
So he has an $18 million cap hit if released. He has basically the same next 2 years as Matt Ryan.
Sure.
I think that's a big cap hit if released for a guy who's probably still going to be their best quarterback option.
Yeah, I agree. It's just that that Malik signing's been scary, and then who knows what happens with the team. If they have a really down year, will they hit the reset button? Maybe not on this regime. I think they really like Vrabel, but they hit the reset button on the roster? Is the question. Are they already doing that after they traded off AJ Brown? It's weird right now with Tennessee. I don't know what's going on with them.
Yeah. And I also think Brady is. I don't know, and Brady is maybe too high here. I think Brady could. Brady's a year to year proposition.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Davis Mills. Man, it's hard for me to see how he keeps his job unless he's really good.
Yeah, this tier 3 is what I like to call the no guarantees tier. Like guys who they look like they're going to be the starter for their team in 23, but who really knows? Who knows? Like with Winston, it looks that way on paper right now because the Saints don't have a first round pick next year. So, and the same thing's true for Mills. Like, it looks like he's their 23 starter because he played well, and we expect him to play well. But
It doesn't
who
really. No,
knows
it
really?
doesn't look
Yeah.
at all like he's the 23 starter.
I think a lot of the community does feel that way though about him.
Oh well, those people are crazy.
I agree
No,
with you, but I
it,
think this is the
it
tier he
looks
belongs
it
in.
looks 100% like they're no. It looks 100% like they are tanking for a 23 quarterback. They have 2 first-round picks. They're going to be terrible. No, they are more likely to take a quarterback than almost any team in the league next year. They are. This is the number 1 quarterback landing spot for 2023.
So you would have Mills in this, what I like to call the likely replaced tier.
Very likely replaced.
Okay.
Yes,
That's fair.
I can't. And I don't think the community really thinks Mills is the guy.
A lot of people I talk to like him a lot, just anecdotally. I keep, I'm a Mills believer. I've seen Mills go. I've done 10 startups this offseason. I think actually 11 now with our 24/7 league. I've seen Mills go ahead of Brady in several of them. So I don't know. It's weird.
I mean, look. I get that.
It's a handful of radicals out there, is what it is.
But like, man, they've got 2 1s, they've got 2 2s. It's a great quarterback draft, and they're going to finish last in the division. I mean, I don't understand how they're not, which means they're going to end up with a top. They're in the AFC, right? They're going to get hammered. They're going to go 4-13. Right? Like, I don't see how they don't go 5-12 or worse. I don't see how they don't take a quarterback with their first round pick and Cleveland's first round pick.
Yep, and just like looking at this, where are you at on Jameis? Let's talk about Jameis. What do you think with him? What are the Saints doing? And what's the Saints' future at the quarterback position? Who's the Saints starting quarterback in 2023? Is it a rookie? Is it one of these displaced veterans? Is it Winston?
I think like Baker Mayfield makes a lot of sense. I think Carson Wentz maybe by the way, this was one thing. So I think Carson Wentz actually stays in Washington.
Sure. Yep.
I might move him up. He's got 2 more years on that deal at $25 million each.
I meant to look that up.
Yeah, they're not guaranteed, but the team can just keep him for $25 million. Like, that's pretty cheap for an average starting quarterback. And he's kind of that. I know people don't love him, but he's...
Yeah, I didn't realize he had another year on his contract.
2 more years.
24. Yeah, his contract is written through 2024. So,
and the numbers are reasonable. They're not fake years that have to be cut. Right? So sometimes you get a contract that's written through whatever year, but the last year is like, and he makes $80 million. And that's just a way of saying, and then they have to cut him. But we're adding the extra year to prorate the salary.
Yeah, I think you're right. He should be up in the no guarantees tier. I think Wentz does fit that mold.
Yeah,
a little bit more.
Yeah.
I would bump him up, sure.
But I could see Jared Goff getting down there. I could see any of these guys who comes loose. I could see end up in New Orleans. But I think Winston has a chance to play himself into a job. Right? They're clearly the second best team in that division, and he has a chance to contend and earn another year. He has to earn another year. All these guys. Brady has to decide he wants to come back. Everybody below Brady has to earn another year. But, Winston is in a position to do that.
Yep.
Tannehill is in a position to do that. All these guys who are below that tier. Goff is not really in a position to do that. But obviously, if he had a great year and they won the division, then he'd earn another year, right? But so everybody can earn another year. But
Wentz could even maybe go up another tier into the high probability tier. Potentially, depending on how.
That's pretty cheap, man. That's pretty cheap.
It is, yeah. I'm going to leave him in this third group,
but he also has run himself out of 2 organizations.
Yeah, that's why he's staying where he's at. Yeah,
right. But I'm just saying, like, he wouldn't, and that's a bad division too. That's not a good division, so they could be competitive, and it's in the NFC. So you get the 3rd place schedule in the NFC. You get some bad teams on that. who knows? Who knows?
So I really wanted to
Um,
put this forward to the viewer as we kind of wind down with the third group of guys. So if you haven't gone through this thought exercise, look at it. All right. So there's 14 dudes in S tier, the tier one. Okay, and then there's 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 8 dudes in the second tier. So that's 22 players. 24 quarterbacks are going to start in your league in any given week. Okay, with 2 super flexes, right? Everyone wants to have a QB3 for that backup. So like, just look at and just the market. Okay, the supply and demand of it. Look at how valuable these dudes are that are safe for 2023. Like, stop fading them. Okay, stop letting Zach Wilson slide, into the second half of the fifth round, or even the fifth round at all. Stop letting, um, Trevor Lawrence slide through the third round. Stop that. Quit. Take these guys because they're incredibly valuable. They're incredibly safe. If I can get out of my Superflex draft and have 3 of these top 22 dudes from the A tier or the B tier, if I can have 3 of them, give me
mhm.
Dak plus Zach Wilson plus Kenny Pickett. Okay, that's awesome. That is so rock solid. And if you can, like with the strategies we've been preaching, if you can have that plus a big bite of 23 first round picks to where you can just gobble up all those tailbacks or leverage those picks off to the quarterback needy teams who want to come in and trade for one of the elite QB prospects. Like, that's power, all right? That's how you become powerful in your dynasty league and how you dominate it, all right? Is by being extremely safe at quarterback and owning the market. So just really take this in and see for yourself how there's only about 20. To be perfectly precise, as we have it broken down, there's 22 guys that we feel are safe options for the 23 season, and even then, probably 2 or 3 of them aren't even that for longer. When you talk about the Cousins and the Fields and maybe the Zach Wilsons, like, sorry, I just wanted to looking at these top 3 tiers, really look at it out there, guys, because it's important. But yeah, getting into the next tier, the what I like to call the probably replaced tier. This is tier 4. So Daniel Jones, Jared Goff, Marcus Mariota, and then I have just Seattle, Carolina. Or, I'm sorry, Seattle, Carolina, and Atlanta listed, but it's Mariota, Lock, Darnold, and then we bump Davis Mills down because he is probably replaced. But we already moved Wentz up. Is there anyone else in this tier who you think has a good chance of retaining their job or just being a starter in
No,
the league?
I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah. I think Daniel Jones is going to go be a premium backup,
Yep.
and I think Jared Goff is a guy who has enough resume that I get why Detroit doesn't want to rebuild around him, but I could see a reloading team giving him a 1-year starting gig right out of Detroit, like New Orleans, like Tampa. If Brady retires and they think they got a run in them, and they're not picking high and they're looking around the free agent landscape, right? I think Goff is a guy who is better than the Mariotas to me. I mean, dude took a team to a Super Bowl, and I know everybody. Obviously, they won it with Stafford. He was an upgrade, but Goff is an okay quarterback. Um, Davis Mills, unfortunately, is on a rookie deal, so he'll just be somebody's backup.
Yeah.
Same for all the other picks this year.
Yeah, I don't have any other rookies laid out. It's the only rookie in here is Kenny Pickett. He's the only one that matters in this conversation.
Tampa is the spot. Tampa is the big spot for me, where if Brady retires next year, somebody could land there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, into a good spot as an immediate walk in. He's the guy starter. So,
Yep, and looking at the if you look at the top 4 tiers here, that's 32 dudes. All right, these are the 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. There's 22 guys in that upper echelon area, those top 2 tiers, and then there's 10 guys down here in the secondary tiers. So that's it, guys. So there you go. And now there's a final tier, what I like to call the men without a country, which is quarterbacks who look like they could or should or have been decent starters in the league. But for whatever reason, their team has made other plans in their face. So that's Baker Mayfield, Jimmy Garoppolo, Mitch Trubisky, and Jordan Love. I added to this here. Um, so what you got to think is one of these men without a country probably slots in as a veteran, among the replacement area. And I think the places where you got to look for that are where the team is going to be good enough to not have a super high draft pick. So you look at these 10 teams in the secondary area, Miami, Seattle, Tampa, whoever it may be, that you think is going to win some games, and that may be where one of these veterans land. So, like Greg said, I think the two big red alerts there are New Orleans and Tampa.
Mhm.
You could see a Baker or a Jimmy land in one of those two areas. I think at a high probability.
Yeah, you could, or if one of these other people gets dislodged, like a Tannehill
Hmm.
too. I got
Yep.
maybe not him going back to Miami, but yeah, definitely the guys you're talking about.
And then,
And
yep. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and then we've got a terrific incoming class in 2023, which I think is a lot of why you were setting up this episode, wasn't it, Tony?
Yeah. This is really the boiling point. Is So I went through and I looked at. This isn't just my takes. I looked through Walter Football. I looked through some Kuiper mock drafts. I looked through McShay mock drafts, and depending on which ones you look through, there's about 5 incoming first round, not just all over the place, but pretty hard first round pick quarterbacks entering the league in this upcoming season. So, these dudes in the lesser tiers, that's where you're going to see their landing spots for these incoming guys. So you're probably going to see a first round pick coming out to Atlanta or to Seattle or to Houston, like we mentioned, to the New York Giants. So like just the big takeaway is know that when you're drafting a Daniel Jones or you're drafting a Desmond Ritter, is that there's a lot of elite quarterbacks coming out, and probably your guy is not going to matter in 23, most likely, unless they really do something special in the upcoming season.
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be a bit of a bloodbath for these back end quarterbacks
Yep.
next year. And I think you saw it all off season. NFL teams were setting up for fading this draft class with the way they treated the free agent class. And you can see the teams that are positioning themselves to go ahead and get one of these high end quarterbacks like Stroud or Young or Richardson. You've got teams like Seattle and who else? Houston sitting on multiple first round picks next year. I believe is Detroit also. I'm not sure about that. I
I
think
don't
they
know.
are.
I think did New Orleans feed them one to move up or something? I don't remember.
Yeah, Philly is, Miami is. So you see teams that are positioned into this 2023 class already. And you see them putting themselves in positions to make a decision on their starting quarterback this year and or to basically tank their way into a quarterback this year, right? So whether that's Jalen Hurts or Davis Mills or Drew Lock, uh, they're facing, or Tua, right? They're facing that heavy threat of the team's ability to go replace them.
Hmm.
So they're going to have to pony up with a good season. And some of these guys are just simply not set up to do that.
Yep.
And then, of course, like you've said, some of these teams are in a contract position where it's easy for them to go quarterback, like the Giants, where Daniel Jones is expiring and they've got nothing behind it.
Yep. That's really it. I don't want to dig into exactly who the rookies are coming out. It doesn't really matter. Just know that there's about 5 of them. Could be as many as like 7 first round pick quarterbacks. There will be no less than 3, though. I personally guarantee you that. So, yeah, it just for the next 2 years, guys, this is your quarterback landscape. Here it is for Superflex. Okay, plan accordingly. Do your thought exercises. Take these guys in your drafts. Like I'm telling you, take Trevor Lawrence over whatever guy you're looking at in the third round right now. All right, I don't even care who it is, T. Higgins or I don't know who's another third round pick, Devontae Adams. Uh, shoot, running backs. I don't even know. Um, just get your quarterback secure. That's the biggest thing I'm trying to tell you guys out there. Get your quarterback sorted out. Um, because there's not that many of them, and there's going to be a big turnover of them going into next season.
Yeah. Anybody who's going to be in a good position going into next year, you're going to feel good about. You're going to be able to trade those guys if you want to, because they're going to have a guaranteed job.
Yep, that's all. No draft breakdowns. That's going to be the next video. We're going to do the Louisiana Sports League. Check out our real-time Dynasty startup walkthrough. You can see me and Greg breaking down the different areas of a draft, reviewing some trades. I think that was a really informative series we did. And thank you so much for tuning into the Multiple First channel. Like, subscribe, comment, and we just appreciate your time here.